Hey, everybody, it's Greg Harrelson here, of course, with my co-host Abe Safa, and we are coming at you again Tuesday, and just giving you some coaching and some ideas, that we want to bounce around together and share with you all inside this Real Geeks mastermind group. So, Abe, thank you for joining me.
Hey, Greg, it's always a pleasure.
Yes. Okay, well, 10% conversion ratio on your online buyer leads. So, this is going to be one of those conversations where I just have a feeling that there's going to be a group of people that are not going to believe these numbers, Abe. So I want to, if I can, I want to kick off this session by sharing, what do I mean by 10% conversion ratio? And then I want to make sure that we also talk about, well, how do we get higher conversion ratios? So let me just start with this. Believe it or not, there's roughly going to be about a 10% conversion ratio on the leads that you generate online. And yes, here's what that means. That means out of 100 leads you generate, I believe that there will be 10 transactions to occur. Now, here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that any one agent is going to get 100 leads and they're going to max out their full potential and do 10 deals. The other thing that I didn't say in that sentence is what the time frame was. Okay. So if we actually go and take 100 leads and you work those leads and you figure out, or you make a few sales, by the way, a good agent will make 2 sales, which is only a 2% conversion ratio. A good agent will make 2 sales out of the 100 leads. An average agent in America will do less than 1 deal on average because the conversion is less than 1% on average. So an average agent will do less than 1%. So they'll do less than 1 deal. It takes more than 100 leads to do 1 deal. That's what the average agent will do. A good agent will do 2. A off the chart agent will do 5%. We'll get 5 deals out of 100. But here's the other an important caveat to this is in what time frame? And so typically the time frame is going to be anywhere from 1 year, 12 months to 18 months. Between 12 and 18 months, when you look at the sample of 100 leads, in 18 months for sure, 12 months a lot of times, but 18 months for sure, I can be real safe on saying this. In 18 months, when you look at the same 100 leads that you got, 10 of them will have transacted. Either bought, closed, are under contract right now, went under contract, fell through, now looking again. They would have done some sort of transaction, 10 out of the 100. But the key is in our industry, you're viewed as fantastic at conversion if you did 2 out of 100. Mm-hmm. So there's a problem. So what we have here is we have the actual results of real estate agents, but then we have the potential results of real estate agents. Now, everybody, please stick with me because I'm going to get deep here and really break this down to what I believe is something that I've discovered. Okay. Here's the key. Most of the agents' conversion, if you get 100 leads, I said 10% will convert over 18 months, but only 2% of agents only convert at 2%. 70% of the 2% that the agent converts, they'll convert within the first 90 days of getting the lead. Okay. So they'll convert in the first 90 days. The majority of the business, they'll convert. Now, why do I believe that's the case? I call it the honeymoon phase because when you get a new lead is when the agent is most excited. Oh, I got a new lead. I'm going to call them and text them and call them and call them and text them. I got them on the phone. Hey, would you like to look at this property? Okay, I got a good lead. So then you call them tomorrow to follow up. You call them for additional showings. 90 days goes by and you're like, man, these people aren't doing anything. I've called them this many times. I've shown them this many properties. They're not really doing anything. These people aren't motivated. Like, once the closer we get to 90 days, and as soon as we get over 90 days, we lose our own motivation to keep calling them. We start thinking those leads are not that good. And in the last 90 days, we got a bunch of other new leads that we're running our honeymoon phase strategy on them. Well, now all of a sudden we feel like it's a waste of time to continue to call these people so much because we got all these other people that need our attention because these are the new leads. So after 90 days, I believe the real estate agent becomes disinterested in the lead. And because the lead is now being ignored because the agent is disinterested, then the lead starts going on to another website. Then they get logged into another website and they get an agent who gives them all their attention and energy, and it's honeymoon phase all over again. So the buyer is always getting the attention because in the first 90 days, they got it from you. Then when you ignored them, they bounce to another agent. They're getting it from them. They're always getting the attention. So when they're lacking attention from one agent is when they bounce to another website. And now another agent gives them attention. And then in 90 days, that agent's gonna be disinterested. And they're gonna bounce to another agent and they're gonna be given all this attention again. And then within about 3, 4, 5 cycles, 90-day cycles, they're gonna transact. And the last agent that does the transaction is going to feel that was the greatest new lead they ever had. Oh my God, I got a new lead. Let's give them attention. Show them a property they buy. And that right there is what causes us to believe that it's the new leads that give us the sales. But the reality is that wasn't a new lead. That lead had already been through 4 agent cycles prior to that last agent. The last agents just happened to be at the right place at the right time. There's more transactions done, more conversion done between day 91 and 365 or day 91 in the 18-month period of time than is done before 90 days. And there's lies why we're only getting a fraction of what's available. What we're 10 deals are going through our hands and we're only keeping 1 to 2. And the other 8 or 9 are going through other agents' hands and eventually landing somewhere. Where if we do better at understanding that when we get a new lead, this lead has to be worked for 12 to 18 months. The same way that it's worked in the first 90 days. And if you do that, then your old leads will be just as good as your new leads, because if you listen to what I just said, it's your old lead that was the agent's new lead that made a sale. So it's the same lead. We got to stop calling it old or new and understand they're all potential. All right, Abe. I wanted to get all that out, okay? Because we might talk about strategies and tactics, but I wanted to say, can we just talk about the elephant in the room here, like what the real problem is? The problem is we've got very short-term, focus, and if it doesn't convert in 90 days, we start to get disinterested. And by the way, any lead that you just got, that you just converted, I promise you, that's an old lead. It was new to you, but it's an old lead. You were just lucky at that time. We need to create our luck, not just wait for it to fall in our hands. All right, Abe, thoughts on this?
Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts. I made a bunch of notes actually as you were talking. So that was good. You got that all out.
Okay, yeah, I feel better, by the way. I feel better.
You look like you feel better. So a couple things. 100% agree with you. Right. So we got to create a distinction between what our personal lead conversion number is, what the average agent's conversion number is, and what conversion that these leads actually convert at what level they convert at. It's 3 different numbers, and we think it's all one and the same. So what I'm hearing you say is leads convert at a 10% rate, period. Leads in general.
Yes.
Now I might capture 1%. You might catch
buyers or sellers, by the way.
Buyers or sellers. They're going to convert.
Online leads are going to convert at 10%. If you follow the leads for 12 to 18 months, you're going to see 10% of them converted.
Okay. So the first thing we got to make sure we're very clear on, because we have to change our mindset, that because I'm converting at a 2%, that does not mean that leads convert at 2%.
Correct.
Okay. So what that means is there's a 400% opportunity there.
Yes.
Right. So that's the first shift that we have to make in our minds. The leads convert, the numbers show all over the place. You can look, no matter where you look, the numbers will show you, whether it's offers.com, whether it's sold.com, whether it's Zillow, they'll show you numbers where these guys, they end up buying, they end up selling. It's just not always with us. So that's the first distinction. The second thing that you mentioned is this fascination, this excitement about a new lead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how, I think you said 70% of the leads that the agent converts at 2%, 70% of those are going to come in the first 90 days.
Yes.
Right? Because of the excitement. Well, you know what else it is? It's pure luck. I mean, a blind squirrel is going to damn find a nut eventually.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. So yes, it's easy to convert. If you're going to talk to new leads, there's always going to be some that are just ready to go now, no matter what you do, no matter what you say. Right. But the name of the game has always been and always will be pre-qualifying, i.e. asking the right questions, and follow-up. That's what it comes down to. It comes down to when you're converting at say 1%, and you know that the leads out there really can convert at 10%, then you need to work on your pre-qualification, your ability to ask questions and asking the right questions, and your follow-up. Because what's going to happen is you're going to realize that if you tighten up those two things, you're going to see astronomical growth in your business. So last year, Greg, I went back and I measured every single listing I took for last year. I think it was like 120, 130 listings I took. And I went back and I put a date of when I first spoke with that lead and then the date that they listed. The average for every single lead, all 130, the average was 365 days.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I forgot what percent, maybe 5% converted like in the first 30 days. Right. So without good follow-up, my conversion would have been 3% on those. Right. So you have to really look at the opportunity that's out there, as Greg's talking about, and then you have to focus on, okay, what can I do to seize that opportunity?
Yes. And
then you also talked about I made a note here. There's lots of noise out there. I looked up some stats last week for our coaching, Agent Success Academy coaching and Real Geeks Mastery, because I wanted to give the agents some stats. So Zillow generates roughly, right, the last number I saw was 212 million unique visitors a month on their website. 212 million. Okay. And that equates to roughly 800 million views of property per month. Now, we also know that Zillow controls about 44% of all real estate traffic online. Right. So doing some quick math, right? Don't hold me to these numbers because I know it's not going to spread across the entire industry. Okay. If 212 million by Zillow alone, the unique visitors a month, and they control 44% of all real estate traffic, that's going to be roughly 482 million unique visitors across all websites. Now, we know it's not unique. And here lies in the problem that we're talking about, right? Because many of them are going to go to 4 or 5 different websites and register and show up as a unique to that one website. So you've got 482 million, roughly, people looking to do 11 million transactions. So there's the noise. Like we get somebody, we get excited thinking, oh, they're brand new. All of a sudden they just came out of a cave and went to Zillow or went to wherever, and they came in as a new lead. Now they're ready to buy or sell. No, these guys have been circulating around over and over. So it's our ability to capture them, okay, hold on to them and stay with them along the whole process, whether it's 3 days that they buy or sell, or whether it's 365 days that they buy or sell. That's what's going to get your conversions up.
Let me add one thing to the equation where let me kind of add an addition to your numbers.
Okay.
A unique visitor is not somebody that's unique once a year. That's not how it works. A unique visitor by definition is a visitor that visits one time within a period. Now the question becomes, what is the period? And I believe, and I do not know this for sure, but I believe Zillow is this. I believe they can count a unique visitor every 60 days. Okay. So when you say they're unique visitors, times that by now 6. Because it's like every 2 months. So if I go on there today, I'm a unique visitor. But if I go on there in 2 months, I'm still a unique visitor. If I go on there today and then go on there tomorrow, I'm not a unique visitor. So all of these websites, their unique visitor period of time is not 12 months. It's usually 30 days to 90 days. So really, we're talking of billions of unique visitors. We're talking billions. Yeah. And so another number is I've seen, if you Google like how many leads does Zillow generate per year, I think it's going to be 30 million. And then if you Google realtor.com, it might be 20 million. And so you start to add up all the just realtor.com, Trulia, Movado, Zillow, and all that. If you just add up those, all the major portals, homes.com and all these major portals, the solds.com, it's going to be hundreds of millions of leads. And so let's just say there's 300 million leads from just the major portals. Well, what about our Real Geeks websites? The thousands of Real Geeks websites. How many leads are y'all generating? And all the other, IDX websites. There's probably literally over 500 to 700 million leads being generated every year and only 5 million sales being made.
Yeah, time 2 transactions or 2 sites, so double that, 10 million. Yeah, 10 million transactions, 11 million sites. Yeah,
there you go. And so what ends up happening, and it's because the same lead is being quadruple counted, because they're, as I said earlier, they get into our portal, we ignore them after 90 days, they jump to another portal. That person ignores them, they jump to another portal, and each one of those times they're counted as a lead. And it's just the last person who's lucking out, where we've got to figure out, how do we leverage Real Geeks? How do we leverage our systems to get better at this? So we're the ones that are, what I'm really trying to say is, what can you be doing to get a bigger portion of what's already available that we've already paid for? What can we do? And this is a conversation that I've had with we've had with our coaching clients in Real Geeks Mastery. For those of you that don't know, we do have coaching for Real Geeks users, exclusive to Real Geeks users. And we're talking about, here's the things that we need to be doing to increase our conversion, to build, to generate organic traffic on our website through SEO, all the different conversations, workflow, texting, all the different things, the home seller evaluation tool, how to leverage that. Because we're generating leads off of the Real Geeks home seller valuation tool. We're generating seller leads, documented property owners, for less than $3 per lead. And they're documented seller leads, and they're going to convert 10% over the next 10 to 18 months. That's going to be the conversion. So those are the things. If you want to join us, Real Geeks Mastery, go to rgmastery.com. Check us out. We'd love to have you. But Abe, before we get off, I do want to talk about some tactics. Like, one way that you can get better and get more of what's available is, last week, Abe and I talked about how to, like, strategies of how to increase your conversion. And we talked about double dial text, email. In other words, you have to make, maybe 6, 7, 8 attempts the first day in order to get these people on the phone. And I know some people will hear that and say, are you really going to make that many attempts? I mean, isn't that bothering people? They're the ones that raise their hand. Remember, this is not a cold calling. These are people that opted in, and they know that you're going to be calling them. They've given you permission to call them, to text them. They've opted in, and you're calling them back. Maybe they didn't think you were going to call them so fast. So maybe they're at the office working on the computer. They signed up, and when you call them, they can't pick up the phone. So let's just understand that if they don't pick up the phone, it's not because they're ignoring you. It's because they're not able to pick up the phone at the moment. So you have to make multiple attempts. Double dial them. That's very, very important. Send videos. Get them engaged. These are the things that you need to do. But don't just do it in the first 90 days. Do it as part of a re-engagement activity. Like, how about this? Take the leads that you have. If you set up an advanced search filter for all leads that are 6 months old in your database, because we know that most agents are neglecting, ignoring, or disinterested in that category of lead. Take all them and take your cell phone. Just take your cell phone, record a quick little video. Hey, it's Greg Harrelson. We were in communication in the past regarding buying real estate in Myrtle Beach. I just want to put a face to a voice. I was trying to reach out to you. I just wondered, are you still interested in purchasing? Please just send me a text. Let me know. Just send that out and make a goal that you're going to send that out. Maybe 10 people, 15, 20 people, depending on how big your database is. Send 10 a day until that's done, until you've done them all, and watch what happens. Oh, thank you for reaching out. You know, we just started the process again. We just got pre-qualified last week. You're going to get a few of those. You're going to get a lot more no's, but you're going to find a portion of that 10% that I'm talking about that's going to convert. And instead of them going to somebody else, you keep them within your own production. What else, Abe?
Yes, I mean, frequency, like you mentioned, is really important. Speed to lead, of course. I mean, the sooner you get them on the phone, and again, look, you have to stop trying to put people into a box, right? Every single buyer, every single seller is going to have their own timeline of when they're going to transact.
Yes.
Okay. So when I said earlier about pre-qualifying, asking the right questions, your job is to call them as soon as possible, get them on the phone. That's the first task. Get them on the phone. Once you get them on the phone, you need to ask them the right questions to find out what their timeline looks like. Once you know their timeline, then you have to help them out along the whole process. Right. So don't get so caught up in thinking, okay, well, if they're not ready to buy or sell right now, then it's not a good lead. No, that's not the case anymore. It doesn't work that way. Okay. We'll capture a lead so early in the process. Nowadays, you have to ask questions, and you have to be okay with their timeline instead of yours.
Yeah. It's kind of like, another part of this is the leads are not bad, but I do agree sometimes they can sound bad. Yeah. And what I mean by that is like the person who walks into the store, the department store, and salesperson walks up, says, "Can I help you find something?" And then the customer says, "No, I'm just looking." They sound bad, meaning they sound like they're just looking, that they're not going to do anything. But then before they leave the department store, they walk out with a bag of clothes. And I think like that's what ends up happening with real estate agents. Sometimes we talk to them and they sound bad, but because they sound bad, meaning call it a smokescreen, they sounded bad, we declare them as bad, and then we move on, and then they walk out with a bag of clothes with somebody else, with the next real estate agent. So we got to be careful. Like if this person's going to transact in 6 months, then when you capture them as a new lead, they may not sound that great. But when you continue to communicate with them 4th or 5th month, which most agents have dropped the ball by then, they start to sound really good. They start to sound like they're actually just as good as that new lead you're going to get. And then they end up transacting. So be careful. Like I don't think there's a such thing as a bad lead, but I've always wondered, like, why is everybody saying this? And then I realized, well, yeah, there are leads that sound bad, but they sound just as bad as the person, as each one of us that say, "No, I'm just looking," when we walk into the department store, knowing that we're there for a particular item.
Those people that are just looking, I mean, I was in retail for a long time. Those are some of the best sales sometimes. The people that walked in didn't look like they were interested in buying, didn't look like they had any money. Some of the biggest sales sometimes. You got to just let the process unfold. You got to be there, get them on the phone, ask them the right questions, find out what their plans are, what their timeline is, and then help them get there. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Another thing that's happening is imagine this, like, I've had agents within Real Geeks, and I've done this actually as part of the Real Geeks Mastery. I've taken somebody's leads. Like one of our coaching clients would say, "Oh, my leads are terrible." I'd say, "Well, how many do you have?" Let's just make it up, 500. And then I would take those 500 leads, or we would access, I should say, not take them. We'd go into their website and we would run a certain campaign on those. And then I would be able to show them how many people bought in their database. So what we would find is I was just wanting to show them the potential versus what they actually converted. And on top of that, every time we do it, we identify people that are about ready to buy. And so we can retarget these leads. So like even we do them in our own database, we can retarget these leads. We'll take leads that maybe appear to be dormant, dead, meaning no activity in our database. Then we run a Facebook ad, we upload them and retarget them. And then all of a sudden we start to see they get re-engaged. And what we find out is it wasn't that they were dead. They were just not engaging with our website. They must have been engaging with somebody else's website. So when we retargeted them, drove them back to our website, now all of a sudden they're engaged again. Now we see all this activity. Start calling them, do deals. I'm going to give everybody, again, a tip. If you're in Real Geeks Mastery, you get a lot of this stuff. But here's one of the things that we shared that we still actively do. We do this every week. We do a top 10 new listings of the week. Top 10 new listings of the week. So through Real Geeks, what we do is we send out an email to a big bulk of our leads. And in that email, we list 10 new listings to hit the MLS this week. And all we do is just put a little bit, we put all the links on there. You know, this house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and then a link. This house, 2-bedroom, this condo, this piece of dirt, and then the link. And we send it out to our database that's already in Real Geeks, kind of as a workflow. We send it out and we get unbelievable click-throughs on that. Every single week, we can take people that are not engaged, send that to them. They start clicking, and next thing you know, we see they're re-engaged. So I have what we look at is we have a health report in my office for our Real Geeks website. And that is, a health report is the size of our database, the number of people that are in our CRM, and the amount of engagement we have on a weekly basis. So we look at a ratio. That ratio might be 10% of the people on the website were engaged this last week. So then we think, okay, well, what can we send? What can we do to see if we can get that 10% to be 15%? Because we know as we get these people more engaged, then we will have more contacts, more appointments, write more contracts, do more deals. I guess at the end, Abe, there's just a lot of opportunity. We don't need to go outside of our database to find opportunity. We need to look within our database. And this group right here is all Real Geeks, CRM, IDX, online leads. That's kind of what brings us all together. We don't have to look far for our next deal. It's already in your CRM, unless you have nothing in your CRM. Maybe you're new. And, but if you've got at least 100 people in your CRM, there's a deal that's going to be done. Any final thoughts, Abe?
No, all good.
All right, everybody. Well, that's a wrap for today. We will see you next week. Bye, everybody.
See ya.